Peace, peace. What's good, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Share this joint out. Uh, yeah, yeah. Peace, peace. Hold on for a second. Share it out one more time. There you go. What's good, everybody? What's good? Duck, peace, peace. Michael DeBoer, peace. Ty 37, peace, peace. You know, where's my man Jamel at? Let me see. Let me, what up? What up? Yeah. I guess we're gonna be talking today. Wait for my partner, to dial in. You know what I mean? I guess we're gonna talk today about. We're gonna tap back into what we was talking about yesterday, but we probably I wanted to talk about a couple other things too. Pretty important issues. I think it's relevant. You know, like stuff like I want to see how everybody feel what they feel about like flat Earth. Hold on, let me see. I got you. Cool, cool. What's
Peace.
good? What's good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I don't know if my earpiece. Say it again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. It's funny. I don't know. My earphone ain't working right. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. That's weird. But no, I was just talking before you dialed in. And I say I was waiting for you. You know, before we basically talk about whatever we're going to. You know, what we want to decide to talk about today. Um, what did you have in mind?
Man, I don't, we can talk about anything, really. I'm always down for anything, man. I heard you say
Well,
something about the flat earth. You know,
yeah, I
I,
think because me and you, we was having our conversation on multiple things. You know what I mean? When we was just talking. So I think seeing how the people feel about not how they feel about it, but what do they know about how they feel about the flat Earth paradigm. Um, how it relates to really what's going on in the world today and what's been going on for the last few hundred years on Earth. Is it relevant? Is it relevant to the whole world order of things? Is that important? Like, you know what I mean? All the Antarctica stuff and all of that stuff. I think it all has something to do with each other.
yeah, personally, I feel like it makes more sense than a globe Earth. I mean, millions of planets and light years away, and they know the distance, but they never been there. It's a whole. It's like, how do you expect people? It's like another religion, you know.
Yeah, right.
It's like you don't have any real tangible proof of it, but you're saying that scientists have proven it, but everything they have is theory. So it it's crazy.
Yeah, because none of those pictures. on all of those what they call that stuff, or the CGI, whatever they call it, all of those pictures of the Earth from space are not real.
Exactly.
They're just
Exactly.
like CGI. It's like computer generated pictures. So you know the highest picture, you ain't never seen a picture of the Earth from space. We seen pictures from real high up, but not space.
And then it
You know what I
also
mean?
leads to like what the ancients say about the firmament,
Right,
about the signs, the stars being a sign from the heavens. You
right.
know, it's like if you get away from that and you say, oh well, you know, everything is just by chance, and it all happened by chance. You're like, well, then how can
Yeah.
people read the stars? How is astrology true? How can you see, Cancer and Sagittarius in the stars if all of
All,
that is just arbitrary?
yeah, and it never changes.
Exactly.
It's always the
Exactly.
same. So it can't be random if it's always the same every day, every year, every month, whatever. You know, it can't be random. It just
Not only
can't be.
that, you have the pyramids lining up with uh Orion's belt, and you're like, how is it still lining up? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but even with the okay, we talk about flat Earth, right? And well, flat Earth versus ball Earth, right?
Yeah.
If the Earth is spinning at this 1,200 miles, 1,000 miles an hour rate, why is it everything? Well, first of all, nothing is moving, and everything is in the same place. And they say the water not moving. They say it's gravity. But then when you really get into the subject, we realize that really gravity is just like the theory of relativity. It's a theory.
Yeah, yeah,
Gravity,
yeah.
gravity is not proven. People believe in gravity, though it's not basically it's not true because it's a theory. It's not a fact.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean? So,
buoyancy and weight. Buoyancy, buoyancy and density. So if something is lighter than air, it's gonna float. If it's heavier than air, it's gonna come down. If it's light, denser than water, it's gonna stay hot up. If it's more dense than water, it's gonna go down. I mean, it's like they try to take away common sense.
right,
You know,
right.
they want you to believe in these fairy tales, and I always be like, man, life is more simple if we just leave it to the four elements, and then the universe, which is the mind, mental, which is the vastness of the mind. It makes way more sense that way, you know.
But plus, we us in these time in these ages, especially in the last 150 years, 100 and 200, last 200 years, we don't follow behind our ancestors. We don't follow behind the stuff that's already tried and tested and is true, tried, tested, and true. You know, if them people that had all that high science, high civilization, building pyramids, all that kind of stuff that we can't mimic or even rebuild that stuff today. You got to know those people was on something stronger than what we on today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when we not we they got us like in the trick bag thinking that we are more advanced. No, we living in a post apocalyptic civilization.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
if you really overstand and know that stuff didn't happen, cataclysms and stuff. The Earth been destroyed. Earth already been destroyed.
I
Earth
don't
been
think you
destroyed.
did. You send me the video of the guy in Africa who came up with the self-generating car? I don't think it was you. I think it was somebody else that posted it. But he said they tried to discount him because they were saying it's perpetual energy because
Right.
it doesn't need to be recharged. It don't need um, uh, any external power source. It can run off of its own power source. It's
Right.
like if we were to advance, we would allow that guy to be all over the place. Your phone would run off of it. Your cars would run off of it. Your house would run off of it. But that takes us off of the beast system where you got to work to eat.
Right. And if you really and if you really ponder on certain facts the fact that we live in a backwards reality. We talk about these if we keep getting into the dimensional thing, but this dimension that we in right now is backwards. You know why? Because things we have to work, slave, and pay for things that are really naturally free, like water.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody really, even though come to find out we can create water too. But what I'm saying is,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But on a natural sense of things, the water come from the sky, right? So basically, okay, it come from God. So God give us the water. He give us the water that feed the plants, and we eat the plants, and we eat the animals that eat all that. But it's free. Food, water is free. Even even in the Bible situation or the Quran, and the people lived in the garden, right?
Yeah.
And they the food was free. They didn't have to work. They didn't have to work and stuff like that or hunt. None of this. Everything was free. But they got us believing that food and water cost money, or
Mm.
that you gotta get up every day and you gotta work for food. You gotta work for money, and that's unnatural. It's really not. It's not natural.
I
We in the
think
back.
that goes. I think all of that goes hand in hand with the flat Earth. Like it gives it more validity. I feel because it contains reality in a way that you can comprehend it, right? If it's something so vast where you can't comprehend it, you look at it as we look at it as everything is out of our control. But in reality, we can actually control a lot of things.
Right, but imagine this, right? If we be talking about a lot of different stuff, right? Meaning like high mind stuff, like okay, if you know that, like, let's say the Shambhala thing and going to the ice wall and in certain points where as though you can get through the ice wall to get to other places, but you got certain places that you got to vibrate high, or you got to have a pure heart in order to go into these dimensions, right?
Mm,
So imagine, just imagine if the portion of Earth that we live on, which is like let's say the United Nations map, that's really what it is, surrounded by the ice wall, right?
right.
And all of us that's inside of this, we prisoners basically. We inside the prison, and maybe you can only get out if you like raise
Mm,
your level of thought. Whereas though like some of us may get smart on certain levels and be like, oh well, we gotta fight, we gotta do this, or we gotta make money, and
mm.
think that that's gonna be the way out, or we gotta ascribe to some type of religious doctrine in order to make it out. Whereas though it may not be any of those things. It may be just
Internal.
right, vibing high, like getting on a high vibration, being
You know,
able to,
you talked about the prison planet thing, and
you know what
it
I'm talking
always
about, right?
leads, yeah, it always leads me back to like you know the Book of Enoch and the Anunnaki and their war and the stuff that Enoch was talking about and the fallen angels being imprisoned in the flesh in this realm of existence, this third 3D realm.
Right.
It's just interesting. Like people don't put those two in correlation. Prison planet, the fallen angels, and what is the rest of the humanity, right?
Hmm. Well,
Oh,
just like
maybe that's
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no. You good?
You know, okay, if you just like okay, is this everything we in order to keep this thing going, they have to keep everybody on a certain level of thought. Plus, you got entities living here that they profit, but well, they just like it here. They like it here. They like it. They like the filth. They like they like it here. So they trying to maintain it and keep it going. But really, the power of this particular place is basically fueled on a lot of ignorance at this point
Mm.
in time. You know what I mean? It's fueled. The ignorance is keeping it going. You know, the flat Earth, all of that stuff is all interconnected. You know, with the Antarctica
Yeah,
Treaty,
that.
you know, between the nations and all that stuff. That stuff is relevant. That's why I said, well, I mentioned rather. I always say that the mud flood thing, all that stuff is relevant because
Mm.
on them old maps, Antarctica is not frozen. You know, it didn't
Mm.
start being iced up until 200-300 years ago. You go beyond be all the maps from prior to 1600, 1500. You see trees and woods and animals and stuff running around on Antarctica.
Mm.
So
I was
I'm just
wondering
so
about that. Like, I even
huh?
asked you. I said, "Where the mud came from?" Like, I'm still kind of trying to figure that part out.
You know how? Listen, you know how? Like, check this out. Rather, you know how? How I'm gonna say this. You know how certain places get certain internet and certain messages and certain things can be seen by people living in the United States, but can't be seen by people living in Europe and vice versa. It's certain stuff that they see in Europe and in Asia and stuff that we don't see here. We
Yeah.
just don't come through our line. It's the same way with history, legend, myth, and all mythos and all that stuff. You go to other parts of the world, they got a whole different way of looking at the land, the sky, just their myths, their old stories is different. A lot of stuff is man. They manage. They got stuff. That's why they know how to keep people separated. Whereas we really at one time we were all together. Everything is all together. The
Mm.
new world order is about being separate. It's about to be the old world order. But you know what I'm saying? It's based on being everybody being separated, everybody being in conflict.
Mm.
But real people in the past before the inverted all this inverted and backward stuff happened, everybody was together. So and then people talk about Pangea. Okay, Pangea is not as long as far. Pangea ain't that far back as people think.
Yeah.
Pangea, it could have been Pangea uh, at the time of when maybe let's say the mud flood. But we will never
Mm.
know because they changed it. They wrote it if they wrote it out of history. Like I ain't never heard the New Madrid earthquake until the last 5-6 years. The new, you know
New
what I mean?
Madrid
Yeah,
earthquake. I
yeah.
never heard of that either.
Okay, that's what happened. Listen, they say that happened in the 1811, 1812. This is an earthquake, the New Madrid earthquake. It decimated the whole earth plane. That's where the mud flood, the earthquake. The earthquake caused mud floods, water floods, fires, all this different stuff. And this is 1812. It's not even 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's about 200. Yeah, well, yeah, it's about 200. Yeah, it's about 200 years ago.
Yeah.
But
1812.
right.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff that we have to uncover, man. It's the earth is as the people come down and the people at the bottom bubble up to what's the riches of the planet. It's just so much to be uncovered, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. And if you a lot of see when stuff be unknown, it's real easy for us to like come to the wrong conclusion about a lot
Mm.
of stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even dealing with like race issues, you know what I mean? And the higher you go with it, the race you gonna learn kind of that the race thing is not exactly what you think it is. Like people is different. People is different. And you do have newer breeds of mankind, I'm gonna call it,
Yeah.
right? That
Hmm.
are that are different than the older versions or whatever, right? Just to say it in that way. But some of these newer breeds are good. They all right. Now, see, you got to now. Some people, are like, oh, you can't. Yeah, I get all that. I get all that. Trust me, I get all that. But what I'm saying is, in the more elevated times, let's say prior to everything being reconstructed, history, so-called religion, spirituality, all this different stuff, you had people. Those peoples existed right alongside the originals, right?
Mm.
And there wasn't no conflict, and everybody knew their place. Now, if you in the mind of I gotta bite 432 to drop. If you in the mind of a hijack, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about, right?
yeah, yeah.
If you in the mind of a hijack, and you got that hijack mind mentality on how you perceive everything to be,
Mm.
like with all the race and all that and all this, all of that, you're gonna come to the wrong conclusion because when everything and everybody was at peace, that's like if a person knew his place. And we ain't talking about like, yeah, I'm better than you and I'm God over you and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm just saying when everything was in its proper place and proper order, that's when things just flow right. You don't
What
got
what
no
what you
uh,
mean by proper order? What you mean by that? What that mean?
like this. Okay, I'm gonna just use an example of how things function in the jungle or in the forest, well, in nature, right?
Yeah.
You don't find alligators trying to be lions
Mm.
or giraffes acting like zebras. No, that's a zebra, that's a lion, that's a giraffe, that's a crocodile, that's an eagle. You know what I'm saying? All
Yeah.
these different, and they all do different things, and not one is not necessarily better than the other, right? Though you do have some that's going to control shit or whatever, like however you want to put it, but nature don't go against itself. Nature don't everybody in nature in true nature know their place.
That's kind of something that I touched on yesterday about, a republic. You know, you and your family knows what's best for y'all and what y'all need, and y'all gonna put y'all vote up for whatever you want in your community. And I think, you know, that kind of lines up with what you're talking about. Like that's what a republic is supposed to be, right? Where you live in your community, you know your neighbors, you know the sheriff, you know everybody in that area, and everybody's providing for each other. Everybody has different occupations. That way, you don't have to go steal from somebody else in the neighbor town. And I
Right.
think that's one of the things that was happening in the 1800s, 1700s. People coming to America and seeing, yo, the Moors over here got all this stuff. Let's go take it. But they didn't know how to keep it without us, you know, continuously bringing innovation and ideas to it.
But see, this is the thing that in the 1800s we talking about a uh post. I'm gonna invite bro to come in.
All right.
We in a post apocalyptic type situation, whereas though I don't know if I hit the invite. I don't know if you're gonna take it, but
Who you
stuff
talking about? So,
the brother Felonious Caper. I'll
oh,
be
okay.
following
Yeah,
him. I'll be
yeah, yeah, yeah.
watching. Yeah, I'll be
That's what's
watching
up.
this video. Yeah, I tried to. Well, I hit the invite jump, but it ain't. It's acting weird. But
He probably not watching no more. He probably moved
yeah,
on or
probably,
whatever.
yeah, can't win on and off. But what I'm saying is the 1800s is post like stuff being effed up. So you got all the rebuilding thing and the repop. They refilling these cities. A lot of people then died off, right? A lot of people then died off and ran off into the hills and stuff like that. We not in the cities like that. So the basically all these big major cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit. Well, I'm just saying these cities we know about. Baltimore. These places is empty.
Mm.
And now mid 1800s, you got. when they start coming with all these orphans, all these people, all these world's fairs. That's why the motherfucker thing, it really you start learning about these world fairs and all that stuff. And these world and then you start really getting deep inside what these world fairs are, and also these incubator babies and orphanages and all this different stuff. This is how the cities was repopulated. But the cities wasn't repopulated with melanated people. It wasn't. The cities wasn't. We was already here. This what you see. But the people that came from other places, the people that was brought in, went and took everything from the original people that was here, right? And
So
then
let me ask you a question though. You still got a lot of people in Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, New
yeah,
York. You still got a
we
lot
everywhere.
of us in those areas. So
We everywhere. We
yeah.
everywhere.
So when you
Yeah.
said you fled from those areas, did we go back into those areas after or
Well,
like
you gotta understand. There was a time when all of us, like, our particular group of people, our group here in this country, we lived in the country. We didn't live in
mm,
the cities.
yeah.
The cities was filled with the worker people, with the people that came over here and got put to work in the factories and stuff. And these factories was owned by Moorish people.
Mm,
The same way, like with those Wild Wild West stories, they just flipped it, and you got those bandits out there robbing banks and all that. That's Moorish gold. Even Mexico has a direct connection. Mexico is America.
yeah, Grenada. Yeah, Mexico, Grenada. Yeah, yeah.
Mexico is America. Like you, so I'm just saying, if if you don't know real history, you won't really know what's going on. But that don't mean that the people that's saying that they Mexican now are the 100%. These are the Mexicans. I'm just being honest,
Yeah, yeah.
because the Mexicans, the real Mexicans, is the people that they saying they Afro Mexicans. That they brought African slaves all the way to Mexico, and now they Afro Mexicans. Them's the Mexicans.
Mm,
If you look on the wall, if you look in the wall in the buildings down in there, they gonna see you, or they gonna see me like this
yeah,
with the hair.
yeah.
Right. So I'm just saying, you got to read in between the lines. If you don't know who you are, and you don't know, like, you're going to be lost. You see what I'm
You
saying?
know, it's interesting, man. We say all this stuff to each other and we talk about this stuff. I had got in one of the TikToks lives with a couple people from Morocco, from Europe,
Right.
from Egypt and all that stuff. And you telling them about all this, and they're like, "Nah, you guys are just trying to steal our history." And it's like, man, nah, I'm not just saying it just to say it because it's like, why would I do that? I'm like, if you look at these books, Moors in Spain and the Babylon, the Timbuktu, the two Babylons. You're looking at the scriptures, the Quran, the Bible. You're looking at, all these. We have all these books, and it's like, why do y'all think we just coming to just steal y'all shit? We don't even really want it. We just saying we were there, like we set it up. We
That's
didn't,
like, you can't steal. Well, you can't steal what's already yours. You know what I mean? It's already yours. Truth. Not mostly. All of this stuff that's being used, we allowed them to use it. And the more you get into, like, Bobby Hemmett dropped something on the dude one time, and he was talking about how, like, we so ancient that we knew it was our time to go. Meaning our time, we had to just pass off the control to somebody else. But and
man,
he,
there's a book called Gods and Goddesses. I cannot find it. I have a book collection, and it talks about that right there, exactly that. Like the
yeah,
gods and goddesses in America were like, "Yo, it's the Europeans' time. We have to allow them to do this thing."
right. But now we at the end of it. We at the end of it, and it's like it's a process. It's not a one day snap your finger thing. But the whole thing about with the justice and justice being served for everybody, you gotta. the elevated people is the one that's gonna have control. People, if you're not emotionally intelligent enough to deal with everybody, then you don't need to be in charge. Because if these emotional people talking craziness and all this different kind of craziness that's not how Mansa Musa was. That's not how the our kings and our emperors and stuff from the past who dealt with everything and everybody. They didn't deal like that. They were
Right.
on. They didn't deal like that. They dealt with everybody and put in a proper way, put everything in its proper place. If the emotional stuff, like, okay, well, I'm gonna do to you what you did to us. Well,
Yeah.
then what's the purpose of us even going through what we went through? We're going through stuff now because of what we did in the past.
Before, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what we gonna just keep the stuff keep going on, as opposed to getting the lesson and understanding, and then moving on, like, or moving back on up, move back up.
That's
People,
exact. You what you're saying is like consistent with like Black Lives Matter. Always playing the "oh woe was me" role. Like, yo, we getting trampled, we getting this. It's like, but we're not taking the initiative to fix our own communities. We're expecting the people that we're claiming to do things to us to fix it for us. And it's like, damn, like how do we got to flip that mindset into do for thyself.
right,
That's why I like what Noble Drew Ali, when he said, when somebody asks me, what should I study? He says, thyself. You know what I'm
right,
saying? He comes back
right.
after he
That's
was
first.
done doing that. He said, study yourself some more. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's the first thing you gotta do. How anybody gonna be able to do anything with you? I mean, even though the whole earth is filled with people that don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Don't matter what color you is. Like I said, a lot of so-called white people, they don't know who they are for real. They know who they think they are. You know what I'm saying? They are whoever they was told that they was when they got here, when they came through the
Mm.
World's Fair. And they
Mm.
say, okay, you're Italian, or you this or you that, and that's what these people. And they was and they kept that, even then, and they were programmed to not speak whatever language that they used to speak
And
from
the
wherever they
crazy
came.
thing is when you're telling them that, they take that as you hate them.
No,
It's like,
but they
it's
they
like
they took. Go ahead, my fault. I ain't mean to cut you off.
no,
Go ahead,
I
go
was,
ahead.
I was pretty much done. Yeah.
But no, they took the deal. They took the deal. The same way, if you go in a lot of different parts, a lot of true history, everybody was getting along. Even that New York stuff with all that, people in New York, and the so-called Native Americans in New York getting along with Irish people. Well, the original Irish people that came, the Irish people that came here from Ireland, the originals was was melanated people. They just hijacked the history, and then when through Hollywood and through rewriting books and making different pictures and whiting out pictures and stuff, they turned the Irish and everybody turned these people. But the true history is these Irish people was cool with the Indians, and they looked the same. That's like
Yeah.
most of us is half and half. Like we really the real original, true Irish, the real Irish people, the real Scottish people, it's mixed with original Americans.
Yeah,
But
the Tainos and yeah.
yeah, so everybody, you know what I mean? And then when you're on the Bible tip, the Bible, okay, this is the real true old world. Joshua won the war with the Moabites and kicked the Moabites out. Where the Moabites go? They go over there to Europe. They go over to Africa, right? The
Mm.
Moabites, they over there. They make nations and stuff like that. Something happened over there. Guess what? They come back. So you ain't doing nothing, but guess what? But still, these Moabites, they really is America. That's like a lot of them, a lot of African. I'm just saying, if you're digging and you really know what's going on, a lot of the people have they, they come from us. We don't come from them. It's backwards. So even with the Moabite thing and all of that, like, yeah, that's all real, but it's it, we gotta. If you don't know nothing, you'll get. If we don't know nothing, they gonna get. We gonna be too hype, and we gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna say bad things, and we're gonna say bad things that's gonna put us in a bad spot. And
Mm.
then with the Freemasons, they know They know a lot of hidden secrets. They know a lot of secrets. So, and they take an oath to not tell the truth. So if I can remember when brothers and sisters saying, "Well, we need to get out. This the white man's land. We need to get out of here." Not and thinking, how crazy is that? They had us so bombed out in the mind that we saying that this is the white man's land.
Yeah.
They like
And
these
willing to give it
niggas,
up too.
right? We didn't that man. That's the biggest. Wow, I know it. That's why when people be talking that crazy stuff in front of them so-called people, white people that know, they look dumb.
Mm.
They look dumb.
Now, you would say that all of the Freemasons know, like all levels, or you would say that that type of information reserved for the top?
Because the biggest secret that they take oaths to never tell about is the fact that you are the king. You are the owner of this land. You are the royalty here. This is why when the Pope gave permission for the people for them people to come over here and do the thing, he said overtake all of their princedoms and dukedoms and all this different stuff. This is what he said. He didn't say come over here and just take over these primitive people swinging around in the bushes and running around in the woods naked and all that. He said, no, you overtake all of their princedoms. We
Mm.
got princes, kings, queens, emperors, empresses here. But they wiped that away. They wiped it out of our minds. You see what I'm saying? So it is to a degree, you gotta get into who you are.
Yeah.
And the people that's really right in their spirit and with everything that that may not necessarily look like us. One of the things that will bear witness to who they truly are is when they put things in this proper place and they don't have no problem with it.
Right. Right.
It's as simple as that.
Same thing with like men and women. Everybody got to be in their proper place. You know.
Yeah, but a lot of people they don't have no problem with you of thinking that you okay. It's a brother that I've been friends with for years, right? He's a Muslim brother, right? It's a friend of mine, right? You know, he light skinned, job, you know, I don't like to say so called white, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean? We're friends for years, right? Real close. I mean, this brother, I know his kids. I used to train his kids in the gym and everything. Right? His
Hmm.
kids, he married, he got a Asiatic wife, a black wife, right?
Hmm.
Okay. We was friends for a long time, but now he actually was a catalyst too for my transformation too, but that's another story. But he was like, yeah, man, I was talking to the brothers about this, that, and the third, woo, 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 and I was saying, well, I don't knock nobody. The brothers finding out who they are, but I ain't gonna find out who I am and then leave my religion and this, that, and third. So I said, well, it ain't nobody leaving their religion. It's just a simple fact. But the point I'm trying to make is people be cool with you thinking that you was a slave. But
Mm.
you do your genealogy and you see look at your grandma and your grandpa back in 1860, they own their land and they farmers. And you go back to 1842 and you see farmers and you just see people that own their own land. You don't see nobody marked down as no slave,
Right.
right? You see what I'm saying? So they
Yeah.
cool with you as long as you think you from that slave. They be cool with that. But guess what? What if one day you wake up, because that's what's going to end up happening with a lot of people. You wake up
Mm.
and you find out that you can only trace your stuff back to an orphan train.
You know what it is? It gives them a position of dominance when you say you came from somewhere that have no past, right? But
But
once you come out of that and they see you're saying no, we actually are linked to the land. Like we actually have footsteps in this land that go past before 1492. It makes them feel inferior.
see, one of the biggest things though is the mindset. See, when you don't care, see, they know when I'm gonna advise you the same. I'm gonna advise myself and anybody who listening. If you dealing with an open enemy, right? Because it's your enemy. If they trying to hold you down, then it's your enemy. Point blank. Period.
Right.
You know what I mean? Bottom line is, so as a person that's on the truth always and forever,
Mm-hmm.
Meaning you and I, right? Okay, then I don't care what they think about me in reference to. And why? Because we see, like, I think it's wrong for us to try. Not, I ain't talking against what you just said. I'm just saying, like, we built. I'm just trying to, like, could we be trying to prove stuff
Yeah.
to them?
Yeah.
Why they already know they lying
Yeah.
about. Why you trying? Like we try. That's like, so why are we trying to prove it? They already know. They know
Well,
they work hard for years to keep you in the dark about your own self.
I think I would just push back on that a little bit and say I don't think they believe they're lying, right? I think they actually believe what they were
Some of them.
told.
The older ones know the difference. The older
Yeah,
ones, they know.
I
They
go with
people
that
from, yeah,
because
each generation.
I talk to these people at work and I look at their facial expressions when I say certain things. I'm like, yo, the quote unquote black people are the indigenous people. I
They
literally
know.
say that to them, and they be
They
like, they kind of taken back, but like, what? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, they be like, oh, this nigga. You go in the courtroom and you got a fez on. They know. As soon as you step in there with that stuff means something, and and it takes them back. And you know what they do? They back on up. They don't, because they don't want you to. They don't want to alarm people. Meaning, like, it'll start waking people. Like, yo, dude was down here. You know what I mean? Brother had, when he won the wars, he was telling, and they don't want to make no. They know that all of that is real. It's just that,
Mm,
just to be real blunt with my statements, a lot of niggas can't believe it about their own self.
yeah, yeah.
They can't believe it about their own self. So, you figure, if you got folks on all sides, and it ain't really not the folks that, like, let's say, okay, the Confederacy, just to be there, talk about stuff. No, that was that when the South lost, we lost. But you know how crazy? It's like you'll see, like, I done seen videos. You got older so-called black men. They got the Confederate uniform on with the Confederate flag and all that. That's a nation of a flag. That flag was stolen from. Listen, everything is backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
They turn everything that's good for you. They made you hate it. They flipped it around in some form or fashion and made you hate it. People ain't nobody wasn't fighting to free no slaves, or to keep nobody. That's the way people, all business was done that way.
Now
People,
that's
everybody was on.
I
Yeah,
had asked you that earlier. I was like, man, when you're looking at the Confederates and all that stuff, and
yeah,
we're finding out it was ran by us, it's like, well, how did
yeah.
that flip? That's where the history I'm trying to figure out. Like, how did that flip to where they actually believed they were the ones that wanted to keep slavery and fight against the North and all that shit?
That's all. It was all. It was all about. It's an economic battle. It's not, in dealing with control, because the South produced certain things just like the North up north produced certain things, but it
Yeah,
never
they
was based
produced
on
cotton.
race. It never was based on no race stuff, though, because it was a time when and then even now to this day, it ain't about no race. It's not. The only way you're gonna get up out of it is if you go higher. You got to go
Mm,
higher up in the mind. And trust me, if you believe that it's gonna be somebody, it's gonna be somebody like you trying to
yeah,
hold you back from elevating past this kind of crap. And then it'll
yeah,
be somebody light skin, pale skin, they're gonna be like, yeah, you're right, it's true, and they're gonna let you through. But
yeah, yeah,
but a lot of us have to, at least, because you got people that sleep on different levels, man. That they don't even acknowledge that there's still a problem with certain things. So you gotta go. Sometimes you gotta whip on them with it, shit. Like, yo, man, you see what the fuck is going? You know what I mean? And then you ease
yeah.
up and start trying to teach them like this. That you might have to deal with it like this. But it's the
Well,
reality. This is what we live
I
in.
only I only said that because you had said we're the ones that lost the war, right? And you're talking about the war in 1860s, right?
Right.
The Civil War. So it's
Yeah.
like, um, if we lost that, it's like, how did it flip to where they made it about race and all that stuff, and that they were the ones in control of the slave trade when they actually wasn't.
They
Well,
listen.
the economic system when they wasn't.
Reconstruction. If okay,
Mm,
in the mainstream history, meaning this is the shit that they talk about, right? In the mainstream history, they say after, right after the Civil War, and this is down there in down south, the so-called freed slaves
yeah,
ran the government. So
right.
so they say this shit. They ran the government for such and such amount of years, right at right after the Civil War ended, right? So you think
Right.
how the
And
hell
started
can
the Republican Party, right?
yeah? So how now the Republican Party was around a little bit before that, but what I'm saying is, or a little bit before the end of the war. But I'm saying, how can people in a illiterate people run a government? Like a people that they not known like throughout in the history books. Okay, it was illegal to teach them how to read. So many different things. How could they run a government?
Mm.
But people don't read in between the lines. They don't. They just think, oh, they just read through it and don't think, how the fuck was these former slaves? They were just slaves 2 years ago and they running a whole freaking government.
It's because they missing links, right? So
Because
it's like,
they wasn't slaves. They
yeah,
never was.
yeah,
They never was. It was a hijack. They moved you out. Not you. Well, yeah, they did. They moved you
yeah.
out of the big house. You used to own
Mm,
the big house, and they put you on a trail of tears, going somewhere else. Took your
mm,
land, and somebody else came in there and took over your name, your title to your land, and everything.
mm.
So they got you thinking. Well, not you. Your grandkids thinking in school. Oh, our name Johnson, because the slave master raped grandmom, and we have this and have that. No, nigga, your freaking Johnson that's your real grandfather. He owned the whole thing, or
No, it's crazy.
I'm just saying. Yeah,
My
like it's
my
everything
father.
back.
It's crazy because my father never told us that we came from slaves in Barbados. You know, that was
Right.
one of the things that I never grew up thinking like, yo, my family. So it never really resonated with me when people were talking about the slave trade and watching slave movies. It was like I
I
kind of
ain't never.
don't have any,
Yeah, I never had that neither.
yeah.
I never was into that stuff because my mom told us that our great grandmother was a Seminole Indian, and my great grandfather, he was a Cherokee. So all my
Mm,
people from down south, we not Africans. We don't have no connection to Africa. I always was like I was a wild kid. Well, I was a rebellious kid. Like you couldn't, I was very rebellious. So like I ain't never followed the script. That's why I ended up going into Islam and never was into like church. I ain't never even want to be like that. So I'm just saying, I was already primed to be talking what I'm talking about now. But what I'm saying, I never felt that way. I never felt
mm.
that stuff. Never felt. I ain't never. And I watch Roots and all that stuff and all that, but ain't nobody. I got my people's. I know. I personally know people. My grandfather was born in 1910. My great grandfather. My other grandfather was born. I know these people. I know how they smell. I know how they
Yeah,
talk.
yeah, yeah,
And that's my great grandfather. But my grandfather was born in 1920. And my grandma was born in 1923. I know these people. These people didn't never used to be talking about no slave stuff.
yeah, yeah.
They
My
ain't no
grandmother
slave stuff
neither.
like
She's
that.
still alive. She knows. She's like,
Yeah,
we wasn't slaves in Barbados. I don't know what these people talking about.
yeah. I mean, so like that was all just see public indoctrination. We was all indoctrinated inside of the school. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? In some form or fashion. You know what I mean? History been changed. Even the identity of the colonist, the colonizer, even that his and her identity has been hijacked
Mm,
because what is being portrayed about the colonizer is not the truth. Even look, my grandmother. I'm gonna just tell this one. My grandmother's maiden name is Mary. Is Mintz, like
mm,
Mintz, right? Okay, when I did my genealogy, it goes back. I got a grandfather, Peter Mance, right? He was born in Chester, Pennsylvania, but he was like involved in in the Revolutionary War. He was like a major. He was a major in the and it was they it's a little bit of fame. It's called the Maryland Gamecocks. You know, cocks like chickens, right?
Yeah.
The Maryland Gamecocks, right? But Peter Mance, they got a whole thing. You can go online and go up Peter Mance and all that stuff going back to that time, and that's my grandfather, right? But you got to
Yeah.
understand the history. I told you the history been hijacked. So
Big time.
like if when you think about when you watch a movie like let's say that movie that Mel Gibson played in called The Patriot.
Yeah, yeah.
Think of it just the same way as like the whole Jesus story, and they changed Jesus. Okay, if Jesus really walked and he was living there and all this different stuff, what could he possibly look like? What I'm saying is, what happened during the Revolutionary War? You have to imagine that all the English and all of the Americans on both sides, all of them is so-called black people. It sounds crazy, but the truth is stranger than fiction. So you gotta understand, certain things happen that effed up the whole everything on the earth plane, right? That's the New Madrid earthquake. You just hearing about it. Okay, this happened in 1812, 1811. How many things did they try to say happened in 1811, 1812? Once you hear it, you be like, well, if it was an earthquake that fucked up the whole world in 1812, how could Napoleon be doing this? How could the United States be fighting Mexico? How could it be all these different this is how they explain away the destruction with,
Mm.
with these fake wars that they wrote into history. You only got to learn one thing, and you be like, yo, you start seeing that all that different shit is a lie. So let's say we way after 1776, we up in 1812, destruction. And now they're just people holding on with their money and their lands and all this different stuff is holding on, and all kinds of political unrest and stuff is going on in all of the lands. France getting taken over. All this, you see, all of this different stuff is going on. When you know what really happened, stuff start be getting clear to you what kind of takeover, how it happened, and it ain't based on no color. It's not based on no color. And our names is our names. Actually, our names they got our names.
Yeah. So you saying that there was an earthquake that shook the whole earth? That's what you
Yeah,
saying?
it caused a lot of destruction on the whole Earth plane. You've had
Mm.
many mud floods. You had many different uh
Cataclysm?
cataclysms and stuff like that that had then effed up the Earth plane. You know what I mean? So like, it ain't nothing. Well, it's known, but it's not well known. But it's more known than it was. But the New Madrid earthquake thing, you know what? And I think the first one that I heard mention that was Asir, the brother Asir. And by him, not by him saying that, but when him speaking on the New Madrid earthquake, then I started seeing different stuff on mud flood and old world architecture and stuff. So then I just dipped into that. And like I said, you got some people that so-called white people. They doing some good work. You know what I mean? They doing some good work in that genre of information.
Yeah.
And the truth be told, the more you get into certain stuff like I, the way you look at how they built back in the day. If you look at the artwork from back in the day, if you ever look at the artwork from back in the day, and you ever notice how stuff it looked weird to you in the ways because it looked like every time you see a statue or a painting from back in the day, it looks kind of androgynous. It has like an androgynous look, like a male, like it'd be a male that could look kind of female, or be a female that look kind of masculine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Like their
it has
body structure and stuff like that.
right. It has a very androgynous type look, right?
Right.
Now, as you go deeper and deeper into your studies, and you start seeing that all forms of man ain't the same, and all forms of man is not the same people that lived in all these different places. Even the brother put out all that work. The brother did all that good work on the Cynocephaly, the dog-headed men. You know what I'm talking
Yeah, yeah.
about the dog-headed,
Mind Unveiled.
but not just mine as well, but 432 The Drop did a big thing on the dog-headed people and all that, dog-headed men, right? But
Oh,
all of
hold
that
on.
stuff is peace. If you're watching, hit Amaru or Dallas, peace. Hit that like button. Hit that like button for me, y'all. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but the way my mind with a lot of different stuff, piecing things together on my own, you know, just to bring up with the dog-headed men and just different things. I truly, well, I ain't gonna say I know, so I'm gonna say I believe, but I believe that everything that like with giants and all that stuff is real. Having like a lot of stuff a lot of these portrayals of these beings on certain statues and different pictures are beings that truly existed. Like
Mm.
the stuff that we think is like mythos and stuff like that, like a half man, half goat, or a half man and a half bull. I think that these uh, beings truly existed, but it's just that when these cataclysms came and destroyed, that was some of the things that got caught up into it and was destroyed. And I believe some still around, right? But that's just it's just it's they gotta
It's
tell
like them people that grow the facial hair with the they grow facial hair all over their face.
right.
You know?
But if you look at it, they always got to tell you things. They always got to tell you the truth in some form or fashion. It was a show that was on. I think it's on Prime. It's a real good series. You should check it out. It's a good
Mm.
series if you want to just binge and watch a good series. It's called Carnival Row.
Oh yeah, I watched that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you, I almost know that joint is really portraying how the world was at one time.
You think they got all those stories from the Vatican?
Yeah, or from wherever. This stuff is well. I think this stuff is well known in high circles.
Mm.
It's just not known at the lowest levels, like of you know you, like even if let's say we middle class people. Let's say, right?
Yeah.
Uh, it's not there. That kind of most of that information, is not just there for us, and some of us is below middle class. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not there. And even if we had people that got a little bit, they think they got a little bit of wealth or whatever. They don't know about they don't know about the real true reality. That's why these people they listen. A lot of people listen to stuff and they think it's just jibber jabber. Like we just talking about what they call them what's the people the what's the ones the people that's like this not snake people but the
Reptiles,
yeah,
reptilians.
reptilians, all that reptilian stuff and all that, but that stuff is real.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you said that. There was a guy that just did a video where he was asking "Hey, give me a." He was talking to Chat GPT, and he was like, "Give me a video of J.P. Morgan controlling the world." And then he was like, then he says to the Chat GPT, "Make it more demonic, more not more." He said, "Make it more sadistic." And the
Right,
further it went with Chat GPT, it made them into lizards.
right,
You know, so I think. Listen, man. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in no coincidence. Everything is on purpose. Everything is
yeah,
real. There ain't nothing
yeah,
fake. Nothing new under the sun, man. Nothing fake. We just put it in that fake category because we can't understand it
right.
in our current understanding of the world. So I totally I'm with you with that. Like you watch all these movies where they talk about, from in the 50s and the 40s, they had like a town that was created to do with scientists, and they did all these experiments and created all these machines, and they make shows like that. And you're like, hey, that can't be fake. Like that got to be real.
You've been watching you watch that channel Mind Unveiled, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now you see they've been doing a thing on the Cabbage Patch Kids
Right.
and all that, like the Cabbage Patch Kids. And but then look, it taps right into all the other stuff dealing with orphan trains, World's Fairs with incubator babies. They literally postcards. They're selling babies. All you see what I'm saying? Like people don't even know this world is running on what and guess what? The people that's outside of that. That's like we're not the ones that's prospering inside of all this. We're the ones who it belong to. I'm just saying. But
You
people don't
know,
want to believe. Yeah, people
you,
don't want to believe that, or they don't even care. Especially if they got a good little spot. If they got a good little spot, hey,
yeah,
they ain't
it is
gonna
what it
they
is.
ain't, yeah, they ain't gonna be trying to. They gonna try to live their life out just whatever. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm thankful for the difficulties that I had to experience because it made me want to know stuff. It made me want to
Yeah.
go against the grain.
It's funny. They just found a cloning center here in Orlando, like
Wow.
that linked to Disney. And you have to ask yourself, man, like they putting this stuff out. It's not mainstream, but they
Right.
putting this stuff out, and select few people see it, and they're gonna tell people. And then I think probably like in a year, maybe two, maybe even 10, it's gonna be common knowledge. Like it's one of those things, man. It's insane, man. Nothing new under
It
the sun, man. No
ain't.
coincidences.
It ain't. Even like you said, the Disney. You bought that Disney. That whole thing. That whole original thing down there is a Tartarian. It's all Tartarian architecture. You know what I'm saying? That building, like, you got some of the oldest Moorish architecture in the world is in Florida.
Yeah, Saint Augustine and stuff like that.
Whole,
Yeah,
right. Whole castles, complexes, everything is in Florida.
yeah,
And they try to tell you that these people built this stuff with horse and carriage, horse and freaking carriage, right?
yeah.
But we bred and we to believe that could be done without power tools, without heavy machinery. You can't even
Yeah,
do it now with the stuff we got now, let alone back in 1898, 1875. They talking about, and they building these buildings. That's why the mud flood thing is so crazy. These big buying state building, yeah, they built the building in 3 years. Building got 8 million bricks. It's made of 8 million bricks, and they built it in 2 years, 3 years,
yeah, yeah. No way.
on top of megalithic limestone. Come on,
Yeah.
boy. It all,
And
it
they
all.
say the pyramids here in America are older than the one in Egypt.
Mhm.
You have they don't want that to be mainstream. Let me ask you what you think about the 50 miles of I think they call it a vault, but I wouldn't call it a vault. But the 50-mile library, I guess, under the Vatican. You think that's holding up a lot of Alexandria's information or the world's information that
Well, who knows? It could be a lot of stuff over there. A lot of stuff got transferred from over here and got taken over there. Just like a lot of those so-called Egyptian artifacts that was found in the Grand Canyon or in Ohio. That stuff been taken over there. A lot of that stuff is not even from over there. But if you know, like just historical facts. Do you know that the body of Alexander the Great was found in Illinois?
wait, what?
In
I didn't know that.
Illinois. Yeah, that's like real common knowledge. You can go online in a lot of places you'll find it. Just go on YouTube and go on Google it. Yeah, Alexander the Great, his body was found in Illinois. But guess what? What you got in Illinois? You got a town. You got it's old or Little Egypt and all that different stuff. And it, like this is the old world. It's just that once you get into that mind, like wow, it's backwards. They flipped it on us.
So what exactly was going on that side of the world then? You know, because if we're saying everything happened over here, what happened over there?
Okay, I put it to you like this, right? Over there is over here.
Would we have to
Meaning,
wait for Russia to expose all of that stuff?
you get down to realities and realities going at the same time, the Pangea thing, and really the lands is not split. It's just that water has come up in between the lands that's making it seem like it's split, and it's not really split. It's just water in between it. Like we still
Mm,
the earth is still flooded. Think about it. It's not
mm,
the water ain't went down. The earth is still flooded.
mm,
If the water go down, everything is still connected.
hmm.
You see what I'm saying? See, you see what I'm saying? When you just think of stuff on different levels, the
Yeah.
earth is still flooded. It's every Africa. How they just the scientists said that they found that Florida, certain parts of Florida is connected to Africa. And you're like, what the? How the hell can Florida be? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Nah, nah.
You didn't hear that? Google that. It's on it. It's like it's on it. It's on it. So, Florida is connected to freaking Africa, yo. So you just gotta think. That means it always been connected. It's no disconnection. It's just that the water is flooded. It's still flooded.
Hmm.
It's still flooded. That's all. So when people keep believing that story, oh man walked out of Africa and then walked out and everything, or or the people came across the ice bridge. Okay, walking from you might 300-400 years ago you could just walk from Nigeria to Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
You could walk. You don't
Yeah.
even take you don't need to take no boat. You can walk. You can ride on a horse or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're we turning ourselves into Africans and Americans and Australians and all that stuff when the whole thing is the same. And
Hmm.
then yeah, it don't matter. We could walk and go anywhere. It's all the same. But they separate us in the mind and separate. They move us out of our natural stuff. Like people that's really from a certain place. They can just mess you up by this is what they did for real for real. Like if you look at the European stuff, look at the movie with they call Idi Amin. Remember he was like the president of I think Uganda, right?
Yeah.
But they made a movie and Forrest Whitaker played him in the movie, and the movie was called The Last King of Scotland, right?
Right.
Now
Right.
I said did a big thing did the thing on the issue on that particular thing, right? And he brought that up. But he brought up that you have like okay, you have European royalty impersonating African royalty, meaning like a lot of the presidents and a lot of the higher whatever royalty like in so-called Africa. Well, what they categorize Africa because Europe is Africa because it's on the same tectonic plate as it's the whole. Europe is Africa too. Europe, Middle East, Africa is all the same. But what I'm just
Right.
saying is, a lot of the people when the people got kicked out of Europe, the original kings and all that stuff, but they was basically kicked out or moved out and made the go along with the plan on certain tips. They we're gonna y'all gonna go over here and you're gonna run the Congo and this group is going here and they all but them people is really European people. Them really them people are the real. European royalty. You see how deep it go? Like
Yeah.
you peel back a layer, and you know what you're gonna see? You're gonna see something else that's crazy and strange. That's why when you see one of them talking some more, I don't get hyped because you don't even know like this dude. Like, he may not even really be who he say he is to the people that's living in Africa. Don't even know that he's really uh Austrian. He's really Austrian royalty. And then when you go in the museum over there in Germany and you see a black man, the king of Austria, and he got a turban on with a feather in it, and he black as hell. I'm just saying it like what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the German king from the whole, or that's the Holy Roman Emperor, and he's sitting there looking like me and you. I'm just being real, like being honest. So we gotta learn. Just gotta keep learning. We gotta just keep learning, keep learning. And you know what I mean?
I guess it's
That's
like we're it's like if we were in these areas, it's like where did these people come from that started doing these Cabbage Patch Kids and all of that stuff, right? Is it still us that's controlling them? Like they talk about the black nobility and stuff like that.
but see, us and them, who is us though? Like us is us and them because all of us, all of us, well, all of them don't look the same
That's true.
because some of them look like us. Just to try to put it in context, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know how like you remember this? You ever heard of the story? The story, the Yakub story, the mad scientist Yakub,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of reminds you of that movie. Remember that movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau, when he was creating all the. It's a movie. It had been remade a couple times. It's called The Island of Dr. Moreau. But make a long story short, uh, we've been splicing for thousands and thousands of years, splicing and creating stuff and creating. Right. So we've been splicing. Period. When I say we, man, original man, been making stuff right for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Right. Now Yakub. Now, if you take a small way of thinking, not a small-minded way, but I'm just saying, and you think that it's just like one guy is one Yakub is just one guy, is one mad scientist. You know how the story. It's not one guy. Yakub to me is a people. You know what I'm saying? So Yakub is a people. The same way I don't look at, let's say, Adam as being you have multiple Adams because you got different stories of the same multiple. You have different of the same story. Like you have multiple Adams. Okay, you got an Adam in Australia, you got an Adam on the American continent, you got an Adam, but you got Adams everywhere. And you know how like okay, the Most High created told Adam to say the name of every different thing. So, but Adam is a people, and Adam is male and female. You have Adam is just it's the people, right?
Yeah.
But Yakub been splicing for years, and everything is so intertwined. And it's strange that the more you dig into like let's say this transhumanism and all the different stuff, getting into mixing machine with man and all this different kind of stuff. This stuff is old stuff. This stuff been around. Only thing you could really, if you look into some of that old East Indian stuff and even some of that stuff over in Southeast Asia, some of that technology you see on those buildings and stuff over there in Cambodia and Thailand and all that stuff is crazy advanced.
Yeah. Yeah.
That stuff is way more advanced than even the stuff that they always talk about in Egypt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the point I'm making is it's no telling who in control.
It's interesting you say that because I always looked at Yakub as the mixture of Esau and Jacob, right?
Right.
Where they just saying, yo, they just made Esau and Jacob one person instead of saying, Esau is Yakub and he understood the science of splicing and genetics, just like Jacob. Because when you read it in the scriptures, Jacob was able to, get the spotted sheep to breed, so that when he left, he took more sheep than Laban had. So it's like if Jacob knew that type of information, that type of science, Esau had to know that type of science and to do that to his children, right? Because he had kids with the Egyptians and the Ethiopians and stuff like that. When you read in Genesis,
Man.
that's how
But
I
all that
looked
stuff,
at it. You know,
but all that stuff could be could be allegory. Whether Jacob wrestling with angels and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That stuff don't necessarily. It's not necessarily. And what I'm just saying is, I I think Jacob is a people. Esau is a people, but it could take on another meaning in another sphere of understanding. You know what I mean? It could
yeah,
just
I
be.
agree. Like, I mean, when you read in the scriptures, it don't say any. It never is talking about individuals. It's always talking about when it's talking about Esau or Alachemites or whatever. It's talking about the people. It's not talking about individuals. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember who it wasn't. Mind unveiled. I really I'm gonna find this video. I saved it too. I just gotta go way back on my YouTube. But it was I don't remember who did it, but it really brought up something that I never really it basically it was a video where the guy had found stuff in information books, different stuff like relating with bringing together the culture of India with like the Egyptian culture, meaning like it's one and the same.
Mm,
And also with like where's it made the connection with the so-called Egyptian culture, the East Indian ancient culture, and the Mayan culture, like all being one and the same.
mm.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just even they said over there yeah, I'm starting to get tired. No, I ate some food too right before we started. That food I had the itis for real, for real. But the Grand Canyon, like you go over there in the Grand Canyon, they got uh 50,
Are you talking
60 foot.
about Jamal Rashad or something like that? He was doing it.
What? No, it wasn't him. It wasn't. It was somebody. It was some other people. But
Okay.
no, this was some good. This was some good info they dropped. But that's what I'm saying. It's good to like I look at everybody's stuff because it ain't really about that. A lot. You got some real dishonest people that look like us.
Yeah, for sure, for
And they
sure. Like
accuse.
Dr. Umar and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, I don't mess with that dude. Like I remember one time I seen him. I seen him in the store. I seen him in the Dollar General or something, and I spoke to him, but he was all surprised because he was all smiling and grinning. I was like, "What's up, man?" And I kept moving, like, "Cause guy, come on, man. Like I know you know what I mean. Cool is cool, but I'm just saying, like I don't believe in him like that. Like you know what I'm saying. I never did.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna sit and say nothing about him, but
It shouldn't
you
take
know,
you that long to build a school, man. You talk about you want to do it for the people. You could have started off small and then showed people what you were doing, and they would have grew because people you're showing improving. It's just like the dude in Georgia. He started the school in his own home. He was like, "Bring the kids over here. I'm gonna teach them," and then people started funding him. Now he got his own school. So it's
right.
like, bro, like you could play with the people for so long until we catch on to, hey, your words ain't matching up to your actions.
Hmm. A lot of them guys. He ain't the only one. Them mainstream guys. I hear mainstream guy. He just know how to talk, you know, and talking to get you a long way. But eventually, you're gonna have to act. You're gonna have to do something. But that's why you gotta have something behind you in reference to like being righteous. You gotta, you know, because It could be money. It could be women. It's more dealing when you're dealing with like male, you know, that's like the right, frame of mind. They approach you with certain things. Certain things could take you off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you gotta be rap tight because you know, it's just the nature of the game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the
It's just,
influences. I got you. I got you, man. The influences. I get it.
yeah. So I don't know, but that brother, yeah, he funny. I said I met him. Well, I met him in the dollar store, but yeah, but no,
But
man.
it's like all of this just comes back to the flat Earth and how you know everything being within this enclosed system will allow other things to manifest and to be changed and manipulated. And like I said earlier, you leave when we living in that globe Earth thing, it takes us out of the realm of possibility into impossibility, and it limits our control of reality.
But imagine this, right? If uh okay, this is what I learned through the mud flood thing, right? That that brick conduct electricity, right? And originally, all I say, all these cities that's made, the everything was made of basically some form of brick. The roads, the streets was brick. The buildings was red brick. A lot of these buildings that you think look that Roman Greco stuff, it did. That's not the original look of it. It's been facaded 2-3 times throughout history, but its original look. Some of those like even the pillars, some of those pillars are really red brick under that facade. But make a long story short, I learned that the red brick conducts electricity. So let's say the people are the power source. We power the machine, and this machine, the machine being the city, because they say if you look at the city from above, like you flying in a helicopter or something, and you're looking down, all these big cities look like circuit boards, like
Mm.
computer. You ever seen any information
Yep.
like on that? It
Yep.
would look
Yep.
like circuit boards. So
Hmm.
imagine if on the real matrix tip that we are living a dream and we living in an illusion, but it's powered by a certain thing, by us and by
Yeah.
whatever.
Consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like that's how it's happening. We sleep, we in a dream state when we so called sleep, and we wake up, we still in a dream state. And, and they got us living in, and they imagine that they got us living in multiple different realities. But
Mm.
here we call it time, but maybe the reality is it's just different dimensions. You go to sleep, you can go to any one of your other places, and then when you're in other places, it's dreaming this. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like you go to sleep in the other reality, you wake up, I'm here. I'm just saying, like it can go on and on
Mm.
and on. There's something, but it ain't so basic. You know what I
Right.
mean? It ain't so basic. But religion, I remember in the religion they used to teach us to stay away from. You had different groups of people inside of Islam, right? And they were called the people of. They call them the people of rhetoric. They call them ahlul, like the people ahlul kalam. Kalam is like speech, rhetoric. They say
Mm.
stay away from ahlul kalam. Stay away from the people of speech, the people of theological rhetoric. And then when you be like, okay, you just follow the program, you just listen because you're a dummy, right? In religion, and then you realize like down the line, you be like, well, what is theological rhetoric? Like philosophy and all of
Mm.
that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So you mean so wow. So you don't want us to deal with no philosophy? Well, we can't even know what other philosophies that contradict may. We should even you might need to know what contradicts. Okay, if this is correct, we should at least know what contradicts it, so we won't fall into
That's
it.
true.
Yeah. But they
That's why I was
trained
like,
them. Go
I
ahead. My
mean,
bad.
but is it like they're saying? See, sometimes we have good intentions, right? So is it saying, certain people of theological philosophy, or is it just saying all theological philosophy?
No, I know my people. My people, no, they like if you ain't on a certain exact definite thing, you off of it.
Mm,
You ain't on it, you off it. You see
mm.
what I'm saying? Like if it ain't something like and you got religious police. And my people are policed by religious police.
Because
So
the reason I'm saying that is kind of like, um, you know, you could be talking about people from NASA, or you could be talking about flat earthers. Like flat earthers are actually showing you the experiments and the science that they doing to show you how they came to the realization that Earth is flat, versus NASA, where they're just giving you a word salad, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you're just so intelligent with all the words that you just throwing at me. I just have to believe you. You know what I'm saying? Did Could it have started off like that, and then it deviated off to whatever personal beliefs people had? You know?
yeah, I mean you got so many different things. Like look at that dude Neil deGrasse. He gets on my nerves though. Neil deGrasse, that mother, he gets on my nerves, man. But
That's the main reason I said that. Like, look at NASA, Neil
right,
deGrasse
oh, you talking
Tyson,
about him,
Bill.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They
that
just be telling you all a bunch of bullshit, but they don't give you
yeah.
no science behind it.
Listen, people be. I'm glad we spoke on certain tips because even with outer space, because I remember one time I think I was saying something. I might have said something one time in one of my lives, but I said that a lot of times if I'm listening to somebody, if they still talk about outer space,
Yeah.
I don't look at them like they that smart.
Mm.
But listen, but to the point. But you know what though? On another note, everybody don't know everything, and sometimes it'd be the smartest person. Stuff can't get by you.
Yeah.
Yes, there's certain stuff that can't get by you. But you know, if you look at the moon landing, the videos from the moon landing video is so insanely primitive. I cannot imagine how bro, I can't imagine how people believed it, but people was under spells. So I
Mm.
mean, if you if you think that them people was landing on the daggone moon back in 1968, 69, wherever it was,
Yeah.
that stuff looks so bad now. Like, man, I can't believe. I mean, they all stiff. I mean, it just look crazy, And people believe in outer space based on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shit's wild, bro.
And
It's
then they said
wild.
they lost all the information. They lost all of the data. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
seen that.
all the data. How NASA how you lose all the data on the moon landing?
And he worked for NASA too, saying that nonsense. Yeah.
You
He's like, how you
lost
want me to believe you? Huh?
all the data on them from them, and even the dude. But see, listen, see, what's the dude name? He's still living. What's the guy's name?
Armstrong? Neil Armstrong?
I was not Lance Armstrong. That's the bike rider, but I think his name
No.
is.
Neil.
He's still alive, but he didn't went public and said that they didn't really do it.
Many times.
Right,
Many times.
right, yeah. He trying to get that stuff off his back, that karma. Like I tell you, he try to tell the truth, and he try to tell the truth because he know it come back to you. But yeah, and even if you look at the sun is right there, just like the moon.
Yeah.
It's not. You got we got to deal with what we really see. You know, just like the flat Earth. If you look at some of those videos and you up high in a plane, or if you on a beach, the Earth never curves. It always, and water always levels out. That's from the nature of the water. It levels out itself. So you never see a point in the Earth where the Earth curves or turns and nothing. You never see that.
Hmm.
You just never see that. So you know what I mean. But people still believe in outer space. People still believe that the
Yeah,
Earth is round.
especially something they never been to. You've never been to outer space, but you believe it.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
man, y'all not gonna take the time to like at least think about what you believing in.
Yeah. Yeah, but it ain't well, getting back to common sense. We're getting back little by little. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we get it together little by little.
All right, man. Hey, this was good, man. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, well, for sure, for sure. Um, do the thing like I did last time and send it to you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and you probably could do it on your side though too.
Can I?
If you go on
I
the
know.
set.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to look at it. I didn't even look at it last night. I was out of it, man. I
Yeah,
see
no,
you hit me up too on Instagram. I was like, did he want to go on Instagram live tonight? I ain't even.
I did, but I was tired. Maybe we could do it tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah,
Just do
yeah.
like a
Oh,
little something. But
yeah.
see, I
No,
ain't
we
gonna
good.
lie. On Instagram, it's because I think it'll probably a little more people because I got a lot of I don't know, just got more. I'm more connected with people on Instagram.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right,
It might
man.
be some of my religious people. They gonna jump on there. They gonna jump on me on that jump. But yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You too, man. All right.
All right,
Peace.
peace, peace.